Good evening, and we're really glad that you're here. It's a beautiful evening here in Massachusetts. We hope it is where you are as well. I'm Susie Foreman Twadell.
And I'm Peter Twadell.
And we're honored to host Vespers this evening.
Thank you for being our community and our Coniston family.
So I started going to camp as a 7-year-old in 1977. I believe that I was the youngest camper that year. And I was in a cabin called Tamarack, which was located where the dining hall now sits. And it later became the girls' CIT cabin for many years. So I was there as the youngest camper and then again as a CIT. And I cried a lot that first summer, but I cried the hardest when it was time to leave. I spent a total of 11 summers at camp. And I did take one summer off in 1987, so it was a span of 12 years. And that meant that I saw camp through the eyes of the very youngest camper and through the eyes of a senior counselor who was also the canoeing director at that time.
My connection to camp began in 1980 as a camper in Boys B9. I was a CIT in 1983, became a counselor and eventually campcraft director, CIT director, and boys camp director in 1990. Many years later, we became camp parents when Chloe and Will began their camp journeys. Between all four of us, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 44 summers at camp. And Susie and I met at camp, fell in and out of love several times until we married in 1994, 26 years next week.
So this evening, we thought we would share with you some thoughts we have about the ways that we carry camp with us wherever we go, and the way we do the world a favor when we share the lessons we learned at camp. We think making it a practice to sprinkle some special camp magic on everyone around us is a gift we, as Coniston people, can give the world. We can share the gifts rather than keeping them just for ourselves. We can do the camp things. Obviously, most of us aren't at camp right now. I see some of us are, but most of us aren't. And that shouldn't stop us from doing the camp things wherever we are. So what are the camp things?
First, camp always meant having really close bonds with friends and mentors. Have conversations with your friends, people you respect and love, distraction-free, and be present. A particularly impactful conversation I had was in 1985, sitting on the dock at Trigger with Steve DeVoid. I was feeling very small and lonely and lost at the time, wondering how I was going to make a difference in the world. Staring up at the panoply of stars overhead, Steve, my co-counselor and mentor, said to me, "Keep it simple. Do something kind for someone tomorrow. Cheer someone up tomorrow. Help someone out." That's a camp thing.
Another camp thing. At camp, we laugh a lot. We celebrate anything we can. We sing songs loudly and proudly, and we hop up on our chairs and dance like no one's watching. Why in the world would we only do these bold, hilarious, awesome things at camp? We need to do them everywhere because they fill the world with joy and whimsy. So I challenge each of you to crank some great tunes tonight and dance on a chair. Why not? It feels great to do the camp things. So let's do the camp things.
Another camp thing, recognize the people in your life who have loved and cared for you and tell them how much they've impacted your life. In the summer of 1987, I was working maintenance preseason and I didn't have a car. So every Friday, my dad would drive up from Massachusetts after work, pick me up and bring me home to Marblehead. On Sunday evening, he'd bring me back to camp. He did this week after week. just before the start of staff week that year, on one of my dad's trips to fetch me, I brought him down to the lake, and we hopped in the putt-putt. It was an old aluminum outboard boat. We motored out to Second Lake. And all of the years I'd been going to camp, he'd never been on the lake. We shared some quiet moments, marveling at the beauty and serenity. And in my way, I said thank you to my dad for everything he and my mom had done to make camp available to me and for all of their sacrifices. Show your gratitude. It's a camp thing.
And another camp thing we do is show the world our talents. At camp, there's nothing better than witnessing campers gather their courage and trust themselves and their community enough to perform in a talent show or a triathlon or a camper staff basketball game, a campfire skit, or even just giving an announcement. At camp, we feel free to show the sparkle within us. We sing out loud or we run our fastest and we don't worry so much about being perfect. Bring that with you wherever you are. Gather your courage, trust in your community, and show the world what you've got inside you. It's a camp thing.
Our virtual Vespers tradition is to take time to appreciate the people who have brought us into being. Tonight, please think about your own personal camp thing. Who helped you find it? And how can you apply it wherever you may be?
So take a few minutes to listen to some of our camp music and think about those things. And thank you so much. Oh, I don't know how to do, okay.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Find your chair and dance like you're at camp.